Hey everybody. So over the past couple weeks, I've spent a lot of time down in southern Utah looking for a really rare bee called the Mojave poppy bee. I've made several videos about this, and this is part one of those videos. I'm here at the White Dome Nature Preserve. This is property owned by the Nature Conservancy. It's pretty hot, 90 degrees. So historically, it was used by a lot of off-road recreationalists. You can see the various trails crisscrossing this area. To a lot of people, it looks like a barren wasteland. These gypsum soils really aren't very productive for plant life, and you can see there's just a lot of dirt behind me. But there's a certain kind of flower that only lives on these soils down here in southern Utah. So I'm in extreme southwestern Utah. Those hills back behind me there, those are Arizona. So this is down in Washington County, Utah, and there's a plant that lives here that this nature preserve was set up to protect called the dwarf bear claw poppy. It only lives here and a few other locations nearby. It's a pretty neat plant. It's endangered species. What I'm looking for today is the pollinators of that plant. So these are the dwarf bear claw poppy. They grow in this crusty soils. This is cryptobiotic crust with lots of different bacteria in it. And then these poppies bloom about down here about the end of April, starting of May. They're called the bear claw poppy because the leaves of the plant have these little spines on them like a bear's claw, apparently. Really pretty little plants with those white petals, lots of pollen available for them. The interesting thing is there is a specialist bee that used to be known to visit this plant. It was a little fairy bee and is a poppy specialist. Only visits 2 genera of poppies, including this endangered species right here. So the fairy bee that pollinates this is one of over 600 species of fairy bees that lives in the southwestern United States. This one in particular is called Perdita myconis. It's a small, rare fairy bee. People call it the poppy bee. It was only recently discovered back in the 90s. Found here and in a couple other places throughout the Mojave Desert and other different kinds of poppies in the same or related genera. So 3 years ago, some researchers came back down here looking for that fairy bee, that poppy bee, Perdita myconis, and couldn't find any of them. So they concluded that they were locally extinct, and they hypothesized that maybe the cause of this local extinction was feral honeybees, particularly Africanized honeybees, killer bees. They suggested that these Africanized bees will get up earlier in the day when it's cooler, and they will deplete these flowers of their floral resources, not leaving anything behind for these fairy bees. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to find the fairy bees. It'd be awesome if I did. But seeing that people just a few years ago couldn't find any, who knows if I'll have any better luck. But I'd also like to make some observations. Are there really a lot of honeybees out here, for example? So far, on the few poppies I've seen, I haven't seen anything visiting it. There's a few little beetles in there, but no pollinators, so to speak. So basically, all of the plants I'm seeing look like this. Great looking flowers, but I haven't seen any bees on them yet. Honeybees or native bees. Interesting. I feel like I was seeing a lot more poppies closer to the highway where I parked. So I'm going to head back towards the main road and see if I have more luck there. There's a nice little population of the poppies in this one patch of lighter soil. They're really particular about where they grow, and it's a pretty sensitive area. So in case anybody's wondering, I do have permission to be out here. I'm actually working on this project, looking for pollinators of these poppies with a group from the USDA funded by the Bureau of Land Management. Okay, I've been out here for something like an hour and a half. It's pretty hot. I think I've looked at probably over 200 poppy flowers. I've seen a total of 4 bees, 3 little sweat bees and 1 honeybee. So it really doesn't seem like competition is what's caused the Perdita myconis to disappear. So I just don't know why it's not here. Seems like I should be finding it, but I'm gonna head back to the truck. There's other flowers blooming right now. Sphaeralcia, this is globe mallow. It's a great bee plant. Grows all over the West, lots of different species of Sphaeralcia, and there's lots of specialist bees that visit this plant. So you can see one right here. This is Calliops subalpina. It's a Sphaeralcia specialist. There's the female in there. Working, look at those scopa filled with pollen. Pretty cool. Well, didn't find much. So you might be thinking, why am I even looking for this bee when some really good scientists already said it's locally extinct? So that's what science does. We keep looking and we keep asking. Especially with bee populations, it's important to look year after year after year. There's a lot of variability from year to year in bees. For example, one year you might find hundreds of one species in an area, and the next year you only might find a dozen or so. It's not because they all disappeared. It could just be because of the seasonal variation. That just is a normal thing for bee populations. So I want to keep looking at these poppies, but here's my plan. So today it's hot, it's 90 something degrees. It's about 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the afternoon. I'm wondering if maybe I should come out earlier in the morning. So tomorrow I'm going to try to come out about 9 or 10 and see if I have better luck. There's also 2 other healthy populations of these poppies in the valley here, so I might head out to some of those other spots as well. Came back out to the White Dome Nature Preserve this morning. It was about 10:30, about 78 to 80 degrees. I found a few more bees, 3 different sweat bees, 2 Dialictus, it's a subgenus Dialictus from the genus Lasioglossum, and 1 bigger Lasioglossum. Still no fairy bees though. So I'm gonna maybe try one of those other populations and see if I have any luck. Okay, so I did a little bit of research and called some friends. I have a friend who's studying these poppy bees down in Nevada on a different poppy. He said he was finding them just last week at about 7 in the morning. He said by about 10 in the morning, they were all gone for the day. So I got up early today. The sun's not quite up. I'm at a different poppy population here, just on the other side of St. George. And I'm hoping I can find some of these poppy bees. I did already see a couple honeybees on some poppies right by the road. So I'm gonna walk back a little bit and see if I can find anything else. Okay, the sun just came up. It's about 63 degrees, a little bit windy. Wind's only about 5 miles an hour again. I have seen 2 other honeybees. You can see some poppies back here on this ridge right there. 2 honeybees, nothing else. So I'm gonna look around a little bit more, give the bees some time to wake up, I guess, and see what I can find. Maybe I'll try one more location as well. Look how pretty those are in the morning sun though. Isn't that awesome? So you can see that cows have walked through here on this hillside. I'm trying not to walk on the crusty soil. I don't want to leave my footprints, but I also don't want to crush any seedlings that are out here. So I'm going to kind of just stay in these cow tracks as I look around for bees. There's a little seedling that looks like it almost got stepped on by a young cow. So right around these poppies, there's plenty of other flowers blooming. This is Stanleya pinnata. Usually several kinds of bees like this. I've seen honeybees all over this. Up at the top of the hill right there, there's an indigo bush right up there blooming. When you get up on the hill, there's several other things. There's some mustards blooming and some other wildflowers. So there's plenty of food for other bees. I'm just not seeing much activity. There's a dead bee in this one. It's not the poppy bee, probably a victim of a crab spider. So it's a little male megachilid bee, probably Hyriades. I guess we can count it as a poppy visitor. So another day looking for poppy bees. I spent some time yesterday afternoon reading some of the old studies that have been done on these bees and on the poppies. And I found that this location right here is actually where people had been seeing them 20 years ago when they were first described. So this is Beehive Dome. Well, that's Beehive Dome behind me. And there's poppies around here. So me and my son came out early this morning to go walk around and look for some bees. So you can see right behind us there are some poppy plants. We are going to go see what we can find. You ready? So far, we're not seeing much on these poppies.
But I can hear a lot.
Yeah, we hear stuff flying by. I've seen a fly and some honeybees. So we'll keep looking. So we spent some time looking all over at these poppy populations. Didn't find much.
Except for a lot of honeybees.
A lot of honeybees. Okay, so here I'm at the Bear Claw Poppy bike trail. You can see a lot of trails behind me. It's a really fun place to ride bikes. There's a pretty healthy population of poppies just back up there. I think I might have been too early this morning. So I got here, same as other spots, around 7 or so. It was kind of cold. Well, cold for down here in the desert. But even when the sun's up now, I've been looking around for a while. I don't see any bees at all. So I'm going to rethink this. I've tried late in the afternoon when it's really hot and haven't seen much. I've tried in the mornings and it might be too cold. I think I'm going to head down to Nevada, where some colleagues of mine found Perdita myconis, the poppy bee, on a different species of poppy. So maybe I can go there, and maybe those observations will help me narrow my searching back up here in Utah.